You to somebody in our agency, and you guys have probably seen her name, but you probably haven't heard her story yet. She is, definitely a leader in our organization, in our agency, working on official leadership titles, but nonetheless already a leader. And her name is Kelsey Morrow, and I want to tell you a little bit about her before I hand it over to her. But she officially got her welcome to symmetry email January 29th. So February was her first month in business, and worked it a little bit, of course, hooked her family up with all the policies that they needed. But like really like first full month was March, and then moving into April. And so far since she's been here, she has submitted over 38,000. She's got over a 70% issue rate. She's written 37 applications. She's had two 5K weeks. She has slingshot to 85, 90, working on 95 this month. And I'm so excited for you guys to hear from her. She's going to share a little bit of her story and give you guys, if you're new here or if you're maybe struggling to get things off the ground, some things that she has done along the way in her very short time here. So I'm excited. I'm going to hand it over to you, Kelsey.
Awesome. Thanks, Trish. Appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. If y'all don't know me, like Trisha said, my name is Kelsey Morrow. I'm Director Trisha in the Reineke Jacob Pogue agency, and I'm so happy to be here. A little bit about me. I live right outside Nashville, Tennessee with my husband, our two kids, Maya and Jonathan. Maya's 7, going on 17, and our son, Jonathan, is 4. We're both originally from New York, but we've been down in Tennessee for like the past 10 years, and we've never looked back. We absolutely love it down here. I'm a certified physician assistant since 2011, and I still work part-time in dermatology. I have to go in today, and that's a large focus on skin cancer treatment. I do a lot of surgery there. But the last several years, especially since the pandemic, the medical world has just been changing. Healthcare reimbursement is down, and many medical providers like Trisha, like myself, we were feeling so burnt out. I definitely feel the burnout. So the last several years, I've been striving to find something non-clinical where I can, find the flexibility for my family and also just have that uncapped income potential, because at my derm job I am capped off, right? And I don't like that at all. So in January I reached out to Trisha, and I just fell in love with the entrepreneur ability, but also the fact that Symmetry has the resources here to be successful. So I've been deep in my learning curve and really approaching this career. I said this yesterday on the call. I work at part-time, but I don't work at part-time, right? You have to go into it with a full-time mindset. So but today I just want to start off with a little story. It's a story that, it was a challenging chapter in my life, my husband's life, and it's really been a fundamental transformation for both of us. It's reshaped us both as individuals. It's reshaped me as a mom, as a worker, and as ultimately someone who now understands the profound importance of, just living your life truly how you want to live it. So our first child, our daughter Maya, she was born perfectly healthy in May of 2018. She was it was perfect labor, perfect everything. In December 2019, I found out I was pregnant with our second child, and this was just a couple months. Actually, I had a miscarriage at 13 weeks, which was really hard. And we were really excited though. We found out at our 20-week anatomy scan it was a boy, and it was our son Jonathan. And we were just really excited. March 2020, something called COVID came along and the world shut down. But, I'm a PA, so I still had to report to work daily. I still had to see my patients, wear that mask, all while being pregnant. And, the pregnancy was going fine, but always something felt off. I always felt like something was just going to go wrong. It was like I always say it was like a motherly instinct. But then on the night of July 8th, 2020, at 29 weeks and 2 days, my water broke. And just out of the blue, I was in shock. I was in disbelief. I was like, I just had a checkup that day. Everything seemed fine. I called the on-call OB and I was told I needed to head into Nashville. We are so blessed. We live right outside Nashville, about 25 minutes, which are some of the top level 1 NICUs in the area. And so we hauled up the car, got our 2-year-old daughter, and I did not have a hospital bag ready. And I was rushed into the OBER. They tried to give me medication to stop the labor, but it was not happening. So, um, I labored for another couple hours and just the medication did not stop. It did not stop the labor. My son's heart rate decided to drop, and I was immediately rushed into the OR for emergency C-section within 10 minutes. Um, he was delivered at 2 pounds, 15 ounces. He was a very, very small baby. And, I barely even saw him as soon as he was born. He was immediately taken to the NICU, and I was told he was doing fine, but I wasn't told much at that time. But after what seemed like forever, I was able to go see my son that afternoon. He was doing well, really well, actually, for being 29 weeker. He was breathing on his own with only supplemental oxygen with a nasal cannula, and his vitals were really good, which was really great. It was truly a miracle, and it was just the beginning of a long NICU stay. We knew we were going to be there for at least 8 weeks. And those 8 weeks of our lives, especially in the middle of prime pandemic, were some of the hardest weeks of our lives. It was an emotional roller coaster. I had to go back to work 2 days a week. I was really working 4 days. My boss was very sweet and she let me go down to 2 days a week. But I had to have a level of income coming in. I was not planning on being on maternity leave 3 months before I was supposed to. The adrenaline rush just did not end that entire 8 weeks. We were going back and forth to the NICU every single day. I had to go separate from my husband. We were not allowed in the NICU with each other during the pandemic. My daughter was not allowed at all. But he did really good. And he spent exactly 8 weeks in the NICU. And on September 3rd, 2020, exactly 8 weeks, he was able to come home. So, what has that taught me? So, the NICU experience hasn't just made me a stronger person, a more resilient mother, or a more focused worker. It has really given my work a new dimension of meaning, meaning that I really want to live my life purposefully. Um, it has taught me to be resilient, to persevere through difficult times, and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Over the years now, I've seen my son be resilient in his own ways. Um, he's building up his gross and fine motor skills. He continues to do physical therapy 2 times a week, and he tells me every single day that he's big and strong, and he's always showing me his big muscles, as he likes to say. So this career, it's built on your drive, it's built on your commitment, and it's really, you have to believe in yourself. And when I see my son believe in himself, I know I can too. Symmetry, it's just not a company from what I've already learned in the past several months. It's a family and it's an opportunity for you to build the life you've always dreamed of. But, let's be honest, success in this business does not come easily, it's earned. So I just want to touch on how I've been succeeding as a new broker and how we all can, especially us, our new agents. I'm a new agent here. When I first started, which I feel like I'm still starting, I had doubts. I wondered if I could make the calls, connect with the clients, and truly help people secure their futures. But I learned quickly that you can do this, and the success is persistence, and you will face challenges. Some days the phone calls will feel endless, the rejections will test your confidence, and you may even question if you're even cut out for this. I question that probably only once a week now, but if you ask my husband, probably 3 to 4 times a week when I first started. Um, but success comes to those who just refuse to give up. As we all know, this industry is challenging, right? What is it, like an 8% success rate? But there's going to be days where the phone calls feel endless, the rejections sting, and the self-doubt creeps in. But I learned something early on is that success is not reserved for the lucky or the gifted. Success is earned through persistence, resilience, and a belief in your ability to improve. So I always tell myself every producer started where I am, right? So the difference between those who succeed and those who quit is simple. The ones who succeed refuse to give up. So, some things I like to focus on. Continuous learning. So we have access to some of the best training in our industry. I always try to lean into it. Like I said, I'm always I'm working a day job, but sometimes I'll have my AirPods in trying to listen to recordings. Because the more informed you are, the more confident you are going to become. At the beginning, I have the script, right? But I didn't have the confidence, and I knew the products, but I didn't know how to connect. So instead of getting frustrated, I commit myself to learning. And every single day, I just try to study the best practices I can. Knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is transformation. The best brokers just never stop learning. I tell Trisha this. I'm like, I'm going to learn it. I need to learn something new every day. And I think we all will learn something new every day. I always try to also lead with authenticity. Insurance is not just about selling policies, it's about helping people, right? We're in the people business. Clients are not investing in our products, they're investing in our trust. So that trust is built through authenticity and integrity. So focus on the connection, listen to your clients' needs. That's so important. Listening is so important. I know I needed to be better at that at the beginning. And listen to their concerns and their dreams of what they want. And when you lead with authenticity, something amazing happens. You don't just close the deals, you build those relationships. And in this business, relationships are everything. Embrace the grind. I'm still in the grind. This career is discipline, right? We need discipline, we need resilience, and we need to lead with excuse me, days when rejection weighs on me. When the rejection comes in, those days when the rejection weighs on me, I refuse to let the discouragement win, because every no brings me closer to a yes. And every tough day builds my resilience. Every challenge sharpens my skills. So what I feel is that the brokers who win in this business are not the ones are the ones who show up every single day. They make the calls. Yes, they dial. We all love it. They follow up. They refine their craft, and they push through the moments when quitting seems easy. And because of that, they succeed. So we're all going to have difficult days. We all do. But remember, your breakthrough is always on the other side of persistence. So, one of the most profound lessons I've learned so far, and again, I have not been here very long, is that success is not just financial, it's personal. And I feel like I've developed quite a bit over the last several months. This career can give you the freedom to create the life you want, to provide for your family, to support your dreams, to make that uncapped potential, and to make an impact that stretches far beyond a single sale. So, remember this, your success is inevitable if you commit to the process. My husband tells me that every day. Commit to the process and the results will come. Embrace the learning curve. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Build trust, authenticity, and service will set you apart. Refuse to quit. And the ones who succeed are the ones who keep showing up. And Symmetry has given us the blueprint. We just have to follow it with passion and perseverance. That's all I got.
Oh, Kelsey, thank you. And you guys, like, as you can tell, she's just such a light in our agency and so much positivity. She tells me that she does complain to her husband, but in 3 months, I have never heard Kelsey complain about anything. I mean, through all, the trials and tribulations that we might come up against, her attitude is so positive. And as you guys can tell, she's just a light. Thank you, Kelsey, for sharing your story. And you guys, like, this is just the beginning for her. This is what, month 3. So excited for your journey here. So we have breakout rooms open.